Yo, did you know that you can mathematically predict how long a part will stretch when you apply a force? Now, when we're talking about elongation or stretch in our parts, there's two main factors that we're going to be considering. One is the geometry, so the overall shape of the part and the thickness of it. And the second one is what type of material or the material properties that we're going to be applying that stress on. Now, in this video, we're going to be making two large assumptions as well. So the first one is that we're staying inside of that linear elastic region. And what do I mean by that? I mean, as we're applying that force and stretching out this part, when we relieve that stress, it's going to go right back to its original length. Now, that's really important. As we put too much stress on a part, it can actually deform permanently and the equation completely changes. Now, the second thing is that when we're applying that force, we're going to be doing it completely axially, straight through this part. We're not going to be doing any torsional loads on this as well. We're going over a handful of equations in this lecture, and all of those equations are going to end up coming together into one large equation, which will describe our deformation. But the first one that we need to understand is stress. And we talked about stress in a lot more detail in a previous video, linked here, but it's simply just the force divided by the area. And that force is that linear force that we're applying to the part, like we talked about in our disclaimer. And the area, if we cut this part in half, is just the cross-sectional area. So the width multiplied by the thickness. If we apply too much force to this part, we're going to end up seeing a rupture of that part. The second equation that we're going to get into is our strain. Now, the strain is just the change in the length of that part as we apply that load divided by its original length. Now, one also way that you're going to see this typically in engineering textbooks is we're going to have this delta symbol or that Greek symbol there. Delta typically means change, and then we're going to have length. So change in length divided by length, and then I have a little O here for original. So change in length over original length. Now, what we can do is take that and we can plug it into another equation called Hooke's law. Now, Hooke's law is essentially saying that our stress is proportional to our strain. And to better understand that, we can check out a graph. Looking at the graph, we have our strain on the x-axis and our stress on the y-axis. As we increase that strain and that pressure on our part, we see that the stress is also increasing on the y-axis. Now, this is a straight and linear line at the very beginning that we call our linear elastic region. This is also defined by Hooke's law, seeing that they're both proportional to each other. Now, looking at the graph, we start seeing something that should be familiar. That is the linear equation. Now, that equation essentially is a straight line equation. And if we remember back, B is our y-intercept. And the way that we figure that out is we set our x to 0. If we set our strain to 0, which we're going to talk about here in a second, we end up seeing that our stress is also 0, which means that B can just go away. Simplifying that equation, we can actually just plug in what's above. Our stress becomes our y, our strain is our x, and this big E, which we're going to get to here in a second, becomes our slope of our equation, or that angle in which this line is going to be coming out. Now, E, or our slope, is called our elastic modulus, or Young's modulus as well. The way that we figure out this particular part of our equation is through physical testing. As we apply strain and we see how the stress reacts, we can then plug this in and plot it, and we get our slope. So each type of material has a different Young's modulus or elastic modulus associated with it, and we get that through testing. One really useful thing that is at SendCutSend already is that it provides the material properties directly on the website. So if you're designing a part and you need to immediately look up the elastic modulus or Young's modulus, it's in the material section. We talked about at the very beginning that the things that can affect our elongation or that stretch are two factors, our geometry and also the material properties. Now, with that being said, if we look back at Hooke's law, that stress is equal to the elastic modulus or Young's modulus times the strain, we can then plug in what we know to be stress and strain. So force divided by area is equal to the elastic modulus times the change in length over the original length. I know that's a mouthful, but what we're going to do is we want to solve for the change in length. That's our elongation that we're looking for. So if we take this side of the equation, we multiply it across, we have to flip it, right? We're going to end up seeing this equation pop out of it here. So we're going to have a force times the length over the area times the elastic modulus. If we rearrange that equation and flip it back around, we now have an accurate representation of how to calculate the change in length. All right, we got a scale. We need to connect this scale to the forklift, which we're going to do by just making a loop like this. And then I'm going to raise this up, and we're going to make a second loop that attaches our material between the two so we can actually pull force, but we'll have this scale to see how much force we're applying to it so we can apply the same amount of force between two different materials, keep our equation variables the same, and just see that elastic modulus come through. Good enough for you? Yeah, keep going now. Safety first. Now it'll work. I am forklift certified, just to make that very clear. That doesn't fit, it's too big. I need more chains. Probably not the best way to do this, but it's also gonna do it, so, which is also key. I might need a longer bolt. We're gonna use this chain on the top and the bottom. I gotta go get a longer bolt. Hold on. It's that kind of thinking that separates the men from the boys. That's it. For this material face-off, we have Buna N versus aluminum, the battle of elongation. Now, both competitors have the exact same starting dimensions, length, width, and thickness. The only difference is their material properties. If we look at these two examples, Buna and aluminum, and we see what's happening inside the equation, it becomes really clear why there's a difference. First of all, our force is the same, our original length is the same, the area is the same. What's different is our Young's modulus here. If we look at the equation overall, we can see that the Young's modulus is inversely proportional to the change in length, or that elongation that we're trying to calculate. Another way to look at this is that if we take our Young's modulus and we go to, say, infinity, or get really, really large, our change in length is gonna get really, really small. So we're going inversely proportional. The same is the opposite. As our Young's modulus gets smaller, our change in length gets larger. If we look at SendCutSend's website and we look at what the actual Young's modulus or elastic modulus is, we can see that the Buna has 150 PSI compared to the aluminum at almost 10 million PSI. So this is actually showing us exactly what's happening in our real world example. It's like one thing that's really important about this one is that we clamp this down as much as possible so that we're not putting that stress around the outside of our bolt holes. Same shape, two completely different outcomes. At 2,700 pounds, the aluminum barely moves. And at only 150 pounds, Buna N is already stretching like crazy. That's the power of material selection. Now, if we start making changes like to force and we increase that force, we're gonna see more deformation. They're directly proportionate to each other in the equation. However, when we're designing parts, we don't normally have a lot of control over the force that the part's gonna see. The force is something we're designing up against. We want our part to be stronger than the situation that we're being put into. Now, with that being said though, we do have control over the other three variables in our equation. The Young's modulus or elastic modulus we have control over by just simply changing the material. We can go from aluminum to steel, directly affecting the overall strength of the part and decreasing our deformation when we see the same amount of force. Now, when we start looking at our overall length or the original length and the area, we can see that there have different effects on the length. If we have the original length increase being on the top of the equation, it's directly proportional. Increasing that original length adds more deformation to the part. We're gonna see more change in length versus a shorter part decreasing the overall length of the part. We're gonna see less deformation overall at the end result with the same amount of force. So that's the only thing we're changing. Now with area, it's inversely proportional. It's at the very bottom of our equation. If we increase that area, and we can do this through two different ways, we can increase the width of the part, or we can increase the thickness of the part going to a thicker gauge. We can increase that stress, which we're gonna see decrease in overall deformation of the part, and the opposite of that being true, saying less area is more deformation. So if we go to a thinner gauge, decrease that overall width. Engineering is powerful because it helps us understand how a part's gonna react before we even design it. Understanding stress, force, and material properties like Young's modulus helps us make bigger and better parts. To get your parts made, drag or drop that step file or DXF onto SendCutSend.com. Love you, bye.